In Brahman's article, Marx, Capitalism and Alienation, he goes into great detail about how Karl Marx viewed capitalism and alienation. Marx was born in 1818, grew up in Germany, but spent most of his life in exile in London. There he embarked on a 2-decade-long study called political economy because he wanted a better understanding of economic matters. He gathered his ideas from readings in the library and museum from Adam Smith, David Ricardo, and Thomas Malthus, which would help produce his first book called Capital in 1867. This article comes from an unpublished study called Economic and Philosophical Manuscripts of 1844. Marx formulated his theory of alienation, which is his analysis of how people are bound to become estranged from themselves and each other under the conditions of capitalist industrial production. This is often considered the philosophical underpinning for his later more technical critique of capitalism as an economic system. He makes a few strong arguments throughout the article. One is that the condition in modern industrial production under capitalist conditions, workers will inevitably lose control of their lives by losing control over their work, versus pre-capitalist workers who would control their own hours and conditions and work at their own pace. Capitalism does so by controlling their workplace and economic life. An artist, unlike an industrial worker, typically works under his or her own direction, where industrial workers work not under their own direction but under a hierarchy of managers controlling their hours and sometimes harsh conditions. They are then unable to control any conditions at all. A second argument for alienation is the worker is estranged from their product of their own work. Marx explains that most workers cannot afford to even purchase their own fruits of their labor. The workers in early times, and even in rare conditions today, experience sweatshop-like conditions with long hours and low pay. Luckily, it has been reformed. Wages have increased, allowing workers to buy their own products and live a little bit of a better life. Marx makes the point the richer get richer and more powerful, while the majority of ordinary people can count themselves lucky even if they have their own job. All of this results from the fact that the worker relates to the product of his labor as an alien object. A final argument is that the workers have no control over the process of the product of their production, because they do not have the means to even produce their production. They are just extended pieces of the machine to produce a product. This is all due to capitalism. Capitalism is in conflict with much of human nature and should be abolished as soon as realistically possible.